We start tonight with former NFL quarterback Mark Sanchez, arrested after a stabbing this morning in downtown Indianapolis. The 38-year-old, who's an analyst now for Fox, was in town to call the Colts game. Well, now he's injured in the hospital, and as our Alex Almanza reports, that's where officers arrested him tonight.
Just a couple blocks east from the JW Marriott, police got the call. Two men were fighting. When IMPD arrived, they found one man with lacerations, the other, Fox Sports analyst Mark Sanchez, with knife wounds.
Let's make sure we lock that bar down, treat it as the crime scene, don't let anybody in or out for now.
Early Saturday morning, the 300 block of East Washington Street turned into a crime scene. The ex-NFL quarterback taken to the hospital in stable condition and also placed under arrest. IMPD says Sanchez faces preliminary charges of battery with injury, unlawful entry of a motor vehicle, and public intoxication, all misdemeanors. Fox Sports releasing a statement before the announcement of his arrest, saying in part, "We are deeply grateful to the medical team for their exceptional care and support. Our thoughts and prayers are with Mark." Fans in town to watch Sunday's Colts and Raiders game, which Sanchez was scheduled to announce, shared the same thoughts.
I got prayers for him, Mark Sanchez. I hope he make it through it. But it's sad, man.
For others with the hotel view of the crime scene, the news was a bit more fresh.
I just found that out through you. Wow.
Yeah.
Mark Sanchez got stabbed last night? That's incredible. Yeah, we were just looking out, saw that it was a bunch of cops.
Mayor Joe Hogsett took to X to weigh in on the incident, suggesting the two individuals do not appear to live in Indianapolis, saying, quote, "It's important that everyone who visits or enjoys our community does so respectfully and peacefully."
Police have yet to release any additional information as this case now sits with the Marion County prosecutor's office. In Indianapolis, Alex Almanza, 13 News.
Mark Sanchez due in an Indianapolis courtroom this week after a fight and stabbing downtown. Police arrested him in the hospital yesterday, and now court documents reveal new information about the violent encounter outside a bar. We're also getting new pictures of the delivery truck driver Sanchez is accused of attacking. Now, a warning, these images are graphic. We've blurred his face because of that, and at the family's request, we are not identifying him. Now, the family tells us he has a deep 6-inch gash on his cheek. They say the cut went through his cheek and into his tongue. In fact, he's now having some trouble talking. Court documents say surveillance video captured Mark Sanchez in a fight with the victim in a downtown alley. Our Ella Rhodes tonight digs into the accusations.
On Sunday, the Marion County prosecutor's office charged 38-year-old Mark Sanchez with battery resulting in injury, public intoxication, and unlawful entry of a motor vehicle after his alleged role in a physical altercation that left him stabbed. Sanchez was in town to commentate on the Colts versus Raiders game. Marion County prosecutor Ryan Mears says this incident should never have happened. What began as a disagreement between a 38-year-old former professional athlete and a 69-year-old man should not have escalated into violence or left anyone seriously injured. It all started early Saturday morning on Washington Street. IMPD says they found two men from out of state injured when they got on scene. According to the police report, the victim says Sanchez approached him while he was in a truck backed into a loading dock at the Westin Hotel. Court documents say the victim was working when Sanchez opened the door of his truck. Then, allegedly, Sanchez told the driver he couldn't be at the loading dock. Police say the victim didn't have his hearing aids in, so he had to lean in to hear Sanchez. The victim told police he smelled alcohol on Sanchez and his speech was slurred. The police report goes on saying Sanchez sat inside the truck. The victim then told Sanchez he couldn't do that. The police report says Sanchez then got out of the truck but later went back in. The victim tried to grab his phone, but Sanchez stopped him. The police report says the victim got out of the truck and went to the loading dock of the Marriott and tried to flag down security. The victim returned to his car to try to get his phone again, but the report says Sanchez stopped him. Investigators say security camera footage shows Sanchez throwing the victim near the wall of the Westin. The report says at that moment, the victim says he realized he was in physical danger. That's when police say the victim grabbed his pepper spray and sprayed Sanchez in the face. Police say Sanchez wiped his face. IMPD says the victim told them he thought, quote, "This guy is trying to kill me," end quote. The report says the victim pulled out a knife, and when Sanchez approached him again, he stabbed him with the knife 2 or 3 times. Police say once the victim was on the ground, he couldn't tell what Sanchez was doing to him. The victim then struck Sanchez one last time before Sanchez ran off, according to IMPD. People nearby say they found Sanchez injured and helped him until EMS arrived. The police say the victim's statement matches what detectives saw in the Marriott security camera footage. Police say Sanchez is still in the hospital and has not yet been booked in jail, but they did place him under arrest. This is an ongoing investigation. In Indianapolis, Ella Rhodes, 13 News.
Now, the probable cause says investigators also found the knife used in the stabbing in the driver's seat of the victim's truck. Meanwhile, Sanchez has his first court appearance on Tuesday morning. We've also learned high-profile Indianapolis defense attorney James Voiles is representing Sanchez. Voiles telling us tonight Sanchez is still in the hospital right now. A lot of you have been asking why he's only charged with misdemeanors. So we talked with another attorney tonight who says prosecutors are likely going to upgrade the charges.
They're probably wanting to see some of the medical records, kind of build up that evidence a little bit as to the severity of the injury. And then the very likely they will add additional or more serious charges. Based on what I saw there, I'd be shocked if it wouldn't be at least a serious battery of moderate bodily injury and even very likely serious bodily injury.
Now, it is important to note we have yet to hear Sanchez's account of what happened. As soon as we do, we will share that and any other developments in this case on air and on WTHR.com. Well, as you can imagine, reaction to this weekend's incident is all over social media.
Some of Indiana's top elected officials weighing in, and their comments are sparking a political blame game that's all unfolding for everyone to see online.
Our Samantha Johnson is looking into that tonight from the State House.
Just hours into the investigation, Indiana Governor Mike Braun took to social media, writing a post saying in part, quote, "City leaders must do their jobs and hold criminals accountable." He went on to say Hoosiers deserve better, praying for a full recovery for Mark Sanchez. But that post on X was later deleted, and Marion County prosecutor Ryan Mears called it disappointing, saying the governor was using assumptions and didn't have all the facts. We heard from Mears on Monday.
When those types of things are said, it's not really an attack on me, it's an attack on 420 people who worked in the prosecutor's office who are dedicated to their job.
Mears posted on X for the first time in nearly 3 years to respond to the governor's deleted message, saying in part, quote, "Real leadership requires a basic understanding of the facts and a desire to do more than just blame others."
But we can't do that without Chief Bailey. We can't do that without the community. And if the governor thinks he can assist, he's got an open invitation to come.
Governor Braun pushed back again, writing in response, in part, "If one deleted tweet finally gets Mears to start paying attention to the violent crime epidemic in our capital city, then I will start deleting more tweets." We reached out to the governor's office several times on Monday to talk about the back and forth. We did not hear back. In Indianapolis, Samantha Johnson, 13 News.
Severe permanent disfigurement, loss of function, emotional distress. Those are the consequences of a fight here in downtown Indianapolis as laid out in a new lawsuit. That suit names former NFL quarterback Mark Sanchez and the Fox Corporation. That fight unfolded early Saturday morning, thrusting our city into the national spotlight, and it did not take long for things to escalate. This lawsuit, criminal charges, and political finger-pointing. We'll get to all of that in a moment, but let's begin tonight with Logan Gay, who joins us in the newsroom. So, Logan, what do they want to accomplish with this lawsuit?
Hey, Scott, I combed through this lawsuit filed by the victims' attorneys, and it details their request for the courts to rule in their favor and against Sanchez and Fox Corporation. A warning, though, some of the photos in this story are graphic.
Laid out in this 5-page lawsuit, a detailed account of what a 69-year-old says left him permanently disfigured and emotionally distressed. A local attorney who's not involved in the case but is paying close attention to it says he's not surprised the family has filed a lawsuit already.
You know, he's going to have a lot of medical bills to pay and things of that nature.
The fight unfolding early Saturday morning in an alley behind the Westin Hotel where the 69-year-old was working. The aftermath now leading to a level 5 felony charge against Sanchez due to the severity of the alleged victim's injuries.
I don't care who you are. I don't care what you do for a living. I don't care where you live. If you come into our city, commit violence, we will use all the tools at our disposal to hold you accountable.
The lawsuit also names Fox Corporation, Sanchez's employer, saying the company owed a duty of care to the 69-year-old to ensure that its employees conducted themselves in a reasonable manner. Because of this, his attorneys are asking for damages and legal fees.
High likelihood, I would say, the civil side will settle. That's a pretty normal thing, and these are the kind of things that people in his position don't want to keep in the news any longer than they have to.
So Sanchez was due in court tomorrow, but his lawyers filed a motion to waive that initial hearing and enter a not guilty plea. We just checked online court records, and they say Sanchez has a pretrial hearing set for November 5th.
All right, Logan, thanks so much. For the first time, we are hearing from Mark Sanchez's family about these allegations and his injuries. Sanchez's brother calls this a deeply distressing time for everyone involved. A statement goes on to say Mark remains under medical care for the serious injuries he sustained and is focused on his recovery as the legal process continues.
Good morning, everyone ready? Well, thank you for being here. I am Chris Bailey, the chief of the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department. Here with me today is Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears. Prosecutor Mears will provide a rundown of the facts as we know them at this time. And then after that, I'll come back up for some additional comments, and then we can answer some questions. Prosecutor?
Thank you, Chief. Once again, my name is Ryan Mears. I'm the Marion County Prosecutor here in Indianapolis, Indiana. And for those of you who are certainly familiar with how the criminal justice system works here in Indianapolis, on Saturday we were presented and submitted a probable cause affidavit from IMPD that kind of contained an initial outline of the allegations that occurred early Friday night, late Friday night, early Saturday morning involving the defendant Mark Sanchez. An initial probable cause affidavit was filed, and we made a preliminary charging determination based on that information. As is always the case, Chief and his team continued to work on this matter, continued to track down additional details for us, and really supplemented that probable cause affidavit. I cannot say enough good things about the work that took place at IMPD. There was a ton of information to sift through and gather. Did an excellent job of acquiring that information, and as a consequence of that effort, we received an amended or an additional probable cause affidavit this morning. Again, this is something that happens in virtually every case here in Marion County, and with that additional information, we have added more serious charges against Mr. Sanchez. At this point in time, we have filed a felony charge, a level 5 felony of battery involving serious bodily injury, which contains a penalty of 1 to 6 years. One of the things that I want to stress to everybody is that we are still in the early stages of this investigation. Chief and his team have a number of search warrants that are still outstanding. They're still tracking down additional information. This is by no means the end of this investigation. This by no means means that these are going to be the final charges that we move forward with. We could not have done this case and be in a position to make today's charging decision without the hard work of IMPD and people in the community who came forward with information and pointed us in the right direction. And we've gathered a ton of information. One of the challenges you have in a case like this is the fact that you are dealing with individuals who are receiving medical care, and that's obviously the most important thing, that individuals are treated appropriately. But once we were provided with additional information about the victim's current medical condition, it became clear to us that additional charges needed to be filed. There's a supporting probable cause affidavit which was filed with the court today, which outlines the additional information which we have received thanks to the effort of IMPD, and that's why we were able to file the charges. A couple of things just about this incident. Certainly the thing that stands out to us is this was a situation that did not need to occur. You have the allegations involve a 38-year-old man becoming involved in an altercation with a 69-year-old man who sustained significant and very severe injuries as a result of that altercation. The probable cause outlines kind of the initial nature of that dispute. We are literally talking about people fighting over a parking space, or a dispute about where people are parking, and it resulted in someone receiving just incredibly significant injuries. Where this incident took place was an area of the city which was very well covered by surveillance footage. There are multiple angles of surveillance footage which capture the events that occurred. And in addition, we had a number of civilian witnesses who came forward with provided information about what took place. For us, though, we need additional information, and Chief's team is working on that. And once we receive that additional information, additional charges might be appropriate to file. In a case like this, one of the things that you are considering is where people are coming from, where were people going, what were they doing, and then once individuals receive medical care, we're obviously very interested in what those medical records look like, because they can a lot of times give us greater insight into what was going on that day and potentially provide some information into an individual's state of mind. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Chief Bailey.
Thank you, Prosecutor. First and foremost, I want to say that my thoughts and prayers are with the victim in this case and his family as he is on the road to recovery. I also want to just express just how proud I am of the officers and detectives of this police department who, those early morning hours of Saturday, rushed in to provide medical care and find out what was going on, and then spent the next really 2 full days putting this case together to present to our partners at the Marion County Prosecutor's Office. All of them, including deputy prosecutors, including the prosecutor himself, worked all weekend nonstop to bring those initial charges. And as he said, we continue to work on this case to find additional information, additional evidence, and additional witnesses to make this case stronger. The professionalism that we saw from our teams is what makes this department one of the best in this city, one of the best in the country. And their commitment to our community and keeping downtown and every neighborhood in our city safe was evident. Downtown Indianapolis remains a safe and welcoming environment for the people that live here and the people that visit here. It remains one of our safest neighborhoods. To date, violent crime is down 5% in downtown. Property crime is down 11%. Overall crime is down 10%. And across our city, violent crime is down 21%. That is because of the hard work of all of our partners in the criminal justice system, including Prosecutor Mears and the work of our detectives, the work that we see from our Office of Public Health and Safety, and the work of our boots on the ground community-based organizations who every day are doing their part to make our city safe. But I want to be clear about this. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you do for a living. I don't care where you live. If you come into our city, commit violence, we will use all the tools at our disposal to hold you accountable. As we move forward, IMPD will continue to maintain our strong, visible presence in downtown on those high visibility, high traffic weekends at major events to make sure that our community is safe. And I continue to urge our community to respect one another. As the prosecutor said, this did not need to happen. It just did not. We need to recognize our differences, respect those differences, and deal with our conflict without resorting to violence, because it's just not worth it. I appreciate the cooperation of our community and the downtown residents and businesses who continue to support their police department, each other, and work with us to solve our problems. Thank you, and now we will take some questions.
Ryan Mears, Prosecutor Mears, are there any laws on the books that state that charges will be up based on maybe a victim's age, especially if this person was elderly?
So traditionally, that's more of a statutory aggravator as it relates to sentencing. And so one of the things that the court can consider when they're trying to impose a sentence, as I mentioned, this is a level 5 felony, 1 to 6 years. One of the statutory aggravators is the age of the victim. And certainly that is something that the judge could consider when they're imposing a sentence.
Did investigators take a BAC level from Sanchez?
Well, anytime anyone's admitted to the hospital, there's a number of things that are conducted as just kind of a matter of routine and a matter of procedure. And I think as you work through the process, certainly their health records are protected. We have to go through that process of making sure that any information that we receive is obtained through the proper channels. And I know Chief's team's working on that.
Do we know if investigators have had a chance to talk to any of Sanchez's associates to piece together what his Friday night was like before this happened?
I can't answer exactly what step in the process the investigators are at, but as the prosecutor mentioned, just because charges are filed doesn't mean the case or the investigation stops. So The investigators will be looking into all those things, and I think the medical records are going to be extremely important for both individuals to help the prosecutor make an important or a charging decision to see if there's some other way to another charge that needs to be added, but also to see if there was some sort of altered state of mind of the individuals involved in this incident.
Does the felony mean his bond has now changed?
So as you know, we're currently assigned to a misdemeanor level 6 court with the additional charges. This case will be transferred to a major felony court, and then it would be up to that major felony court to make the determination as to whether or not a bond should be imposed regarding the new charges. Again, these new charges are supported by an amended probable cause affidavit, which goes into way more detail about what took place on that night, and also more clearly outlines the nature and extent of the victim's injuries in this case.
How does the state's self-defense law play into this and the allegations?
Well, certainly Indiana has some of the most robust self-defense laws in the nation, and that's always going to be part of the equation when you evaluate cases like this and trying to determine exactly what took place. And it will certainly be at the center of this particular trial as well when we have conversations about were people acting reasonably or not. And in Indiana, you have no duty to retreat. So those are all things that you need to consider in terms of when you make that initial charging decision. Those facts have been evaluated, and certainly the self-defense law is going to be an issue that will be raised at trial.
Last question.
You tweeted yesterday for the first time in 3 years, criticizing the governor for his quick take for political gain. What's your reaction to that?
Well, for me, the most important thing is that we get information out there that is accurate. And anytime people jump to conclusions and don't rely on facts, that's obviously disappointing. For us, though, we have conversations about what's taking place in Marion County. When those types of things are said, it's not really an attack on me. It's an attack on 420 people who work in the prosecutor's office who are dedicated to their job. And we've won 31 out of our last 34 murder trials. We've won the last 10 murder trials in a row. And if the governor has conversations about what's going on in Marion County, not only can he look to those stats, but he has an open invitation to come to the prosecutor's office and not only meet with me, but the people who are in the courtroom every single day fighting for those convictions. We don't get those records and we don't get those results without Chief Bailey's help, without the community's help. And so if the governor thinks that he can add to that conversation, if he says, hey, there's additional things that can be done to help, we always want to have that conversation. Where I think my frustration sometimes comes from is everybody's quick to blame and point fingers. We need substantive responses that actually address the challenges that we're facing and give everybody the tools and resources that they need to be successful. I feel very comfortable with where we are in terms of our murder conviction rate, but we can't do that without Chief Bailey. We can't do that without the community, and if the governor thinks he can assist, he's got an open invitation to come.
For both Ryan and Chris, considering Indiana is a constitutional carry state, and as you pointed out, self-defense statute is very broad, how lucky are we that somebody's not dead of a gunshot wound?
Well, go ahead.
I mean, I mean, we've seen over the last several years the number of cases that have to be screened from the prosecutor's office and look through the lens of self-defense, I think, go up. And that's because a lot more people are armed and protecting, which is their right that they have. But when conflicts, which I've said repeatedly, continue to drive violence in our community, simple conflicts over things like parking spots, and the list goes on and on that we've seen over the last several years, these tragic cases that turn violent because someone has a weapon of any sort. But we're lucky that no one's dead right now as a result of this incident that involved a knife. But certainly more people have guns, and we have to be mindful of that as we start and deal with conflict in our community.